Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fable Joey, and I am back today with a movie review. And I made a video quite a while ago talking about my most anticipated movies of the year. And up there at the very tippy top was A Quiet Place. And I had the opportunity to go see A Quiet Place tonight. And let me tell you, I was not wrong about having it that high on my anticipation list. Guys, I'm wearing my Dunder Mifflin shirt from The Office to just, I don't know, because Jim's in The Office and Jim's in the movie, so why not? But seriously, guys, I couldn't have been more happy with this movie. In fact, I am so excited to review it, even though it is this late. And I know I'm kind of late to reviewing it because the movie came out last Friday, but honestly, I feel like that I kind of owe it to myself to review all the movies that I put on my most anticipated list. So I'm definitely going to be doing a review of this. At least that's what I thought, and now I'm here. So let's get started. Alright, guys, so let's start out with everything I liked. And honestly, there wasn't a lot that I didn't like. So this is probably going to be the biggest segment of the video. And no spoilers here. So this is actually a spoiler-free review. I'm not going to say anything that you haven't already seen, and probably not even stuff from the trailers, because this movie, there's no way that I could even be responsible for spoiling this for anyone, because it's just that good. But the movie is just absolutely amazing. And first thing we're going to talk about is the directing done by John Krasinski. So many of you know that John Krasinski himself directed this film, which is insane how amazing it is, because this is only one of his first films directing. I think he's directed two before this, so this is like his third film directing. And he honestly seems like someone who has been doing it for years. The man is going to be such a fantastic director, and he already is such a fantastic director. There were some things that I saw in the movie, because when I go to movies now, I guess I'm totally noticing things that a lot of people like notice when you're like actually going out to review a movie. And there was so much just by the directing that I was paying attention to that was absolutely insane. The way that he handled this movie just looks absolutely completely professional, and I have no complaints about the directing. I think it is amazing. His cuts and everything are so precise, and the way that the film was directed was just so detailed and thought out. In fact, there's a girl, and many of you have seen this in the trailers, but one of John Krasinski's daughter in the film is deaf. And anytime it shows from the perspective of his daughter, everything is like you can't hear a thing because she's deaf, so she wouldn't be able to hear a thing either, which I think is just absolutely brilliant. And that leads me to another thing. The sound design in this movie is some of the best sound design I have heard in any movie, especially focusing on it now, not just when like they do the scenes with the deaf, because I think it's so cool, all the sign language that was brought into this, but the sound design for this movie is incredible, because most of this film is silent. It is called A Quiet Place for a reason, but most of the film is silent, so when you get a big sound, like a loud sound, it is strong, and it is insanely loud, and it's so well put together, and it really, like, some of the scariest scenes aren't even due to the things that are actually supposed to scare you. It's just, like, amazing little stuff that, like, you wouldn't even imagine. It's just so brilliantly thought out. The sound design, like I've said in movies before, like when I did my review of Maze Runner, when people really know what they're doing with sound design, it just makes a movie so much better. And I think that sound design is a super important thing, and they totally mastered it here. But not only is the sound design amazing, the soundtrack for this movie, or the score that was developed for the movie, is absolutely spectacular. It fits the film so well. I couldn't have asked for any kind of different like kind of score, because I just thought that everything that happened like with the score alone that accompanied the whole movie was just perfect. The score alone for this film is just outstanding. And I think not only does it match the tone, but it enhances everything, because the film is silent. So when you get this music, that like some of the music in this film like legit just gives you a panic attack. And I just think that's so brilliant that they were able to do that with the sound design. So that's for sound design and directing. Let's get into the cast. So, being a big fan of The Office, I was super stoked to see John Krasinski in this film, and he was definitely my favorite part of the film, but he is not the only one who had an absolutely spectacular performance. Emily Blunt was absolutely amazing in this film. I think I've only seen her in a couple of movies. I know that she's done some voiceover work for some Hayao Miyazaki films, which I thought was awesome. She was in The Wind Rises, which was really cool, and she was also in Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. So that's kind of where I knew Emily Blunt from, and I thought that she was just an excellent, well casted, and the whole cast is. And the funny thing is, when they're showing the credits at the end of the movie, there's only like 5 or 6 cast members, which I thought was kind of hilarious, but that's so cool that they were able to do that with like 5 or 6 cast members and make this, well, just amazing of a movie. And the cast just really helps push everything along, because everyone knows that if you have a bad cast for a movie, then nothing's really going to keep the watcher entertained. And the cast here was spot on, and I loved every performance that was given here. So let's move into this before I really get into my final verdict. I wanted to make this kind of short because I didn't want to do any spoilers, because honestly, if there's anything that I have to get to in this video, it is to go see this film. Now, if you don't like horror movies, do I recommend this? If you don't like scary movies, do I recommend this film? Absolutely, but you might wet yourself, because it is just like, if you're not used to scary movies, then I might do a little easier ones, build yourself up to it, but I think that the film is absolutely spectacular. And I heard something from another reviewer who said, if you've been doubting Hollywood's popular horror movies lately, this will really bring you back in to watch those. And I definitely agree with that, because I honestly, when I come to it, if I was going to get into a complaint section, I have little to no complaints, honestly. There's some little problems that they weren't really explained to me, but there was so much in the movie that, like, just pushed it forward for me that I didn't really need that to be explained. And the fact that this film is only an hour and 30 minutes and it gets done this much, it makes it feel a lot longer than an hour and 30 minutes, because it's so intense. This film is honestly a non-stop thrill ride. There were points where a scene just crazy happens, you're like, okay, let me relax for like 5 seconds, and then it just hits you with another one. And that's insanely amazing when you have a film that's only an hour and 30 minutes long, and it does that good of a job of keeping you interested, and it did that too. And I find that some people are going to be like, oh, well, half the movie's silent, why would I want to sit through a movie that's silent? But it's so intense and well-directed that it keeps you watching, it keeps you entertained. And there wasn't a single moment in this movie where I was like, oh, I'm bored, I don't want to look at another subtitle, Because I was so invested in the cast and the score and the directing, and I was just so invested in the movie itself that it just kept me watching. And I think this film is absolutely brilliant in every sense of the word. Let's move on to my final verdict. So like I said, I have little to no problems with this movie. Obviously, if you saw my most anticipated movies, I think this was either number 2. And honestly, before I was going to the movie, it probably amped itself up to number 1. And without a doubt, it definitely deserved its spot up there. Like I said, I do have some tiny little problems with it. But honestly, I could not do anything less than the score I'm going to give it, because it was just so absolutely amazing. So A Quiet Place not only is excellently directed, excellently casted, has one of the best soundtracks and score designs that I've seen in a horror movie or scary movie of this genre ever, but it is also one of the best films of the year, and I guarantee you're going to see it close to the tippy top of my list for the top 10 movies of 2018. I'm giving A Quiet Place a 9.7 out of 10. So guys, have you seen A Quiet Place? If you did, I would really love to hear your opinions on it. It seems like everyone is kind of in the same boat. A lot of people would kind of rate it lower than me, and I do want to explain that. I think that now that when I go to movies and I'm kind of looking for more of the direction and the sound design and stuff like that, I really get into them. So if you're kind of just one of those easygoing moviegoers who goes to movies to be entertained and not looking for any of that, I think that you're absolutely going to enjoy it. Probably not as much as me, but I still recommend this film to anyone. I loved A Quiet Place. I think it is absolutely fantastic. I think that all of you should go give it a shot. I'm Fable Joey. Thank you so much for watching. If you love this video, you can give it a like. Check out my other movie reviews. Check out the other stuff I have on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.